Welcome back to Keeping It Real podcast. I'm Sweet Tea. I'm the host of this podcast. And yes, I started this back in 2017. And I'm going to begin reliving episodes and giving you episodes here and there with a couple clips of my favorite memorable moments. And the first one I'm about to go and dive in this one is on finding truth, using interviewing questions to find out truth. And I opened this episode up with my first ever guest, Jordan Brady, commercial film director out in Los Angeles. 2017 in October is when I started this whole thing, talking with him, and at the end I got into what Jordan called it, paying homage to Lewis Howes, my inspiration for starting the podcast in that year from the School of Greatness. And he goes on to, coming from School of Greatness, he says this, and here's that episode now.
It's going to be creatively fulfilling, and I know I'm helping people. So I'll volunteer to help read someone's treatment and give them notes or maybe come up with ideas for their project. And I find that, while it's not as fulfilling as doing my own project, like doing my kids, like doing my own stuff. That's why we're filmmakers. Working on someone else's crew, helping behind the scenes, maybe introducing, helping them find the right piece of talent, or connecting. I connected a director friend of mine with a great gaffer and a new DP he'd never worked with, and I think it upped his game, the director's game. I think it made for a better shoot. And my friends are getting work out of it. So it's kind of like giving and paying it forward. There's a reward in doing that, and that keeps me fresh, keeps me upbeat.
That's really powerful. The one thing when I hear all you say, when I hear you say this, I can't help to think of pro bono work in like a law firm, and I thought about this the other day. It's how you develop the relationships how you give and receive. In your work, I started thinking. I don't know. Would you agree that lawyers, when you're talking about like comparing our world with like law and anything, would you agree that maybe you put aside time and effort to just give and not expect like anything in return, and just give your time?
Absolutely.
And like one project a month, and that's
wow,
really
now that's a lot.
That may be too much, but how?
I wish I could do that, but I agree with the sentiment of giving without expecting anything, and no matter what field you're in, but especially in filmmaking, give and never, without the expectation of receiving something in return. That the act of helping someone is the reward itself.
What does it mean to be successful to you in film?
Wow, you have great questions, first of all.
Thank you.
Yeah. For me, to be successful in filmmaking means that you are getting paid to do what you love to do. I'm not even qualifying as you have to make a living. But that to me is I think a fair barometer of success. That this is what I would do in my free time, and I'm getting paid. So it could be a hobby, but someone's paying you. Like, it's not a hobby is when you're not making any money. So I guess I shouldn't say it's a hobby. But the other thing, without the money, take that out of the equation. I think success as a filmmaker is when you can reach an audience and connect with people through your work without any explanation. I got an email today from a woman, Stella is her name, who said, I saw your website and I want to see if you can help. My mother is disabled and she can't do anything except watch movies. Still Scallion was her hands-down favorite for a long time. We had to move her in a house, and we lost the box of DVDs. It was smashed. How can I get a replacement, and at what price can I get Still Scallion? And I told you earlier that was, I went to Muleshoe, Texas, and Dallas and all that. And she said, Amazon has one for $80. I can't afford that for my mom. So I wrote her back, Bella, tell me where I can send you a free DVD. Now that to me is success. And I can make a woman and her disabled mother smile by mailing a DVD of a movie that I made almost 20 years ago. Why, by golly, that's success right there. I'm not Michael Bay. I'm not David Fincher. Some of your listeners, they never heard of me. But I got a fan out there who's going to smile.
It's your last day on Earth. You know it is. You're on the bed. Your family's surrounding you. All your stuff that you've done has some reason that it's been wiped off and it's gone. And you want to be remembered. You want to have a legacy. And you're given one piece of paper. You can do anything you like with it and a pen. With the one piece of paper, flip it over, whatever. What are 3 truths that you know to be true about the film world?
First of all, I like that you were inspired by this last question. And you didn't steal it. You are paying homage, Thomas.
Yes.
Paying homage. And that's one of the 3 truths that I would write, that to be successful, you must study the history of film so that you may stand on the shoulders of the giants that came before you. So that you know that Steven Spielberg studies and pays homage to David Lean. He loved Lawrence of Arabia, and you can see the influences in that. And J.J. Abrams learned and pays homage to Steven Spielberg. So study the past and learn from the greats and borrow, steal, homage, whatever you want to call it. Don't reinvent the wheel. Learn from those who came before us. The second one is this. You can never lie about your credits, but you can lie about your pay. So in the film world, you don't have to tell people how you worked for free or how the budget was $17,000 to make a feature film. Everyone's always proud of how inexpensively they made something, but that then just tells other people to not pay you as much. So I'm a big proponent of speaking the truth, except about your money. You can lie about that if you want to make more. But your credit, you just can't lie about. You either wrote the script or you didn't. You either were the cinematographer or you were not. It is binary. So when it says, a guy sent me one time, Thomas, a music video, and he goes, hey, I'm sending you the music video I directed. And I watched it on YouTube, and at the end it said directed by someone else. And I knew this guy worked on it, but I didn't know he directed it. And when I saw his name was not the name, I called him up. I said, hey, I'm calling bullshit. Pardon my language. I said, why is the other guy's name at the end of the film? It says directed by so-and-so. He goes, well, I really directed it, and I'm talking to them and the artist about it. I'm going to put my name on it. I go, well, as of right now, you are not the director, and you can't lie about your credit. You can't send me something and say you directed it and someone else did. And thank goodness the guy's name is on there to catch you in your lie. So that would be number 2. You can lie about your money, but you can't lie about the credit. And number 3, that I have found to be a truth, is something we touched on earlier. That creativity and the process of film, of making film, can and should be its own reward. A lot of people think the shoot itself has to be grueling. It doesn't. It can be enjoyable. It can be a celebration. I've talked to many filmmakers, interviewing them on my podcast, and they love going to set. Like most people love going to set. You yourself, Thomas, love being on set. And that is one of the most, so I would say the third thing would be that filmmaking, the process of making film and collaborating with others, is one of the purest forms of joy, and that should be embraced. That the process is to be enjoyed.
The next one I have for you in this, I don't know if you want to call it a masterclass or what, but a masterclass on finding the truth and finding out the truth. This next one came in a little later on after that Jordan Brady conversation. I talked with actress, scream queen Brooke Lewis. And she had this to say when she was recognizing me on the questions I asked. Take a listen to this portion of the episode now and relive a piece of the conversation with myself, Brooke Lewis, and myself. And now let's go in the film world. Please welcome Brooke Lewis. Hello, welcome to another edition of In the Film World. Today I'm with Brooke Lewis, an actress out in LA. Thank you for coming on. We've been working so hard to get this episode going, but we finally got it.
We did. Hey, Thomas and all the listeners in the film world. This is crazy. He's not kidding you guys. Like, we were communicating on Twitter for quite some time all last year, and every time he would have time to do an interview with me, I would book something, which is a good thing. An actor wants to have that problem, right? So it was so funny. So we kept having to push, or I would get sick, and then we committed to right away in January 2018, and then I've been down with that dreaded flu for over a month, and you'll hear me cough. So it's great that we're here together today, and I can't wait for the listeners to get to know me a little bit better, on your show.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, and start out. I've been liking to start out with this question I've been asking everyone. What are you most excited about right now in your life?
I love that question because I love when I get to do media interviews and it's not just about acting and film and TV all the time. I love to get down and dirty and personal. So I'm most excited about a lot of things. I mean, for anyone who follows me on social media, I recently got engaged and it's been incredible. We had a true Hollywood romance engagement, like old Hollywood, like Elizabeth Taylor, Richard Burton style. So everybody can check out the photos if you Google it online. That was the end of last year, 2017. So I'm super excited about my engagement. And the other excitement is we're way too busy to even plan our wedding right now because of all the great film stuff that's happening in my life. So I'm super excited about that too. We'll talk in detail about a feature that I just finished acting in playing one of the 8 leads, which is so exciting. It's called Half New Year, and we can talk about it when we talk about detailed projects later. And I'm also excited to hit the film festival circuit yet again in 2018. We have had such an incredible run with Psychotherapy and also my new short film called Alan and Millie, a short romance, which again, we'll get into detail. So I would say right now, they're most exciting. And I'm also honestly, keeping it real, most excited about going into 2018, really focusing on my acting career. I've done so much, with authoring books the last couple years and my dating expert work on reality shows and producing, and I am ready to just be an actress again like I was when I started out my career. So any of you Texas filmmakers out there, you're my favorites. Please hire me. And I'm just trying to remind myself that even at the tough times, and all the listeners who work in the film industry know this, it ebbs and flows. So even at the tough times, I focus on, what can I do to move my career forward? And most importantly, and I should have said this earlier on, I am so blessed and grateful for the most wonderful fans in the world. I truly have the greatest fans in the world. And I know a lot of actresses say that, but I mean it. Like, my followers and fans on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook fan page, the fan mail I get, it keeps coming and coming. And I'm so lucky because I would be nowhere all these years without a steady fan base. So I'm really grateful for the fans.
You mentioned about your 20 years of acting. Go back that 20 years, and how did you know you wanted to be an actress?
Well, I knew a lot longer than 20 years ago. So I knew very early on that I was not quote unquote normal. I was always unique. I was always a little different. I danced to the beat of my own drum as a kid. My parents were divorced when I was 2. And I would, spend a lot of alone time, and I would watch movies all the time on TV. I would watch TV. I would talk to the characters in the television, and I knew I was a little different in that I could channel that. I was a very insecure kid too. So I always knew I could channel that through the creative arts. So I was like singing, dancing, acting, doing musical theater very, very young in Philadelphia. And so then when I went to college, I was doing, again, musical theater in high school, community theater. And when I went to college initially with a degree in theater, and then ended up getting a minor in theater, but my majors were in criminal justice and rhetoric and communications. I was going to go to law school. So I kind of took a detour there, but I knew in my heart when I graduated college and I was going to go to law school, and my heart and gut said, what are you doing? You're doing this to please everyone else, not yourself. And then I had the courage, and I really do think it takes a lot of courage to take a chance in an unstable creative industry. So I knew at 21 years old, I was not going to go to law school. I was going right to New York to pursue acting. And that's when I knew 100% in my heart that that's what I was really committed to.
This has been fun. A lot. You bring a lot of energy. You brought a lot of energy to this episode.
Thank you. That's how I roll.
Yeah. I'm pushing myself to be a lot more energetic, bring a lot more energy to whatever I do as well.
Well, I think that's a great idea because we are both entertainers, but I want to give props to you too, Thomas, that, I've done hundreds and probably over 1,000, radio and podcast interviews in my career, honestly. And I have to give you mad props, that because I've worked with people on shows that have a lot more energy, but they don't do their due diligence in my career and they don't have creative questions. So props to you. I know you pre-prepped me and told me it would be unique, and you have standard questions that you love to send out that are extraordinary. So thank you to you. And I want to acknowledge you for that because you do such a great job as a professional to cover areas that are fun for me to answer. I get energized when you ask me great questions. So good on you, because a lot of times I do podcasts and they just ask me the same standard question about, horror movie, whatever. And I love those too, but you're really covering everything in depth. And so I'm able to give you better answers. So thank you for doing that.
I appreciate that. And then in 2018, I had this very fun conversation. I didn't think I could land this quickly on a conversation. A guest such as this hadn't been too prominently, but he's been in some Disney Channel and Nickelodeon TV series. Joey Luthman, I talked with back in 2018, and we talked about a bunch of things, the roles he was in, and one thing it came up, like there was something out there, and I was asking about, I was curious about, and there was a kind of clearing the air, and that goes on in this portion of that conversation. Listening to that now. How's your day been going, Joey?
You know, it's been going pretty good. I haven't done anything. It's like still barely morning over here, but I just haven't done anything yet. So, but I'm hanging out here now.
Day's still young.
Day is still young. Yeah.
So let's get right to it. What are you most excited for that's happening right now?
I mean, we've got this feature coming out called The Last Champion, and that has starring Cole Hauser, and Glenn Withrow is our director slash co-writer alongside Hallie Todd, his wife, who she played the mother on Lizzie McGuire. So yeah, so she's really fun to work with. They're all really fun to work with. And so I got to basically we got to do some wrestling. So I never done that before, so I had to train for that. And of course, I was training with guys that were. It was good. It was good practice at least. But I was training with some guys who were like 50 pounds over my weight limit, and so it was pretty tough, but no, I loved it. It was super fun. So that I don't know when exactly that's coming out. I do know it's soon because we finished all of our ADR. We finished. I know they're very close with editing, and they're like almost done with it. So it's probably a couple months away, I would say, but. Check it out. That is going to be really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be looking for that. I saw something you were putting out recently with a partner in the works of a short film project you're funding on Kickstarter. Right.
Well, Kickstarter, we that was we got a lot of our budget from that, which was really cool, and I was not expecting anything, so I think that was a really cool random success. But that, so the short film is the first short film that we have made together as our kind of new little production company. Sort of is taking off in small strides. But yeah, so it's called Dead Leaf Butterfly, and it's like a psychological thriller / drama, and it was a lot of fun to film. We had all of our friends filming it, and we hired a few actors who we had worked with before, and it all worked out really well. So I'm excited to see it. It's in post-production right now. We're working on my brother's actually scoring the film, and a few other friends are doing the sound editing. And our friend Brian, who was our scripty on set, he was doing all of the that work, and now he's doing all the editing. He's a really great, fast and smart editor. And yeah, we had Hannah Lee on as the main actress, and then I was doing all the camera work. Our friends Dylan Snyder and Allison Arm were working on it, so it was a lot of fun. I'm excited to see how it turns out. There's a lot of things we can improve on, and I will tell you, I've never done it before, but it was super duper stressful being the camera person because the camera operator, because whenever we're watching playback, I'm looking at they're looking at performance, like little things. I'm looking at like the entire shot all the time because like the entire frame is me. It's like it's like everything you see is what I filmed. It's like, oh my gosh, that's stressful. So but no, it was pretty cool. We got some good stuff.
Can't help thinking of another Joey who would probably know where I'm kind of, if he's ever seen Friends or No Friends.
Oh yeah. I love Joey.
He's-
Joey Tribbiani.
Yep.
Yeah, man, that's I love that. I think when I was little, I used to quote that all the time. I don't have a good memory, but my parents would tell me that I would like quote that all the time, and I would walk like, "How you doing?" Because I hadn't watched the show before, but like that's all they would say because Joey Tribbiani, how you doing? And so I would repeat that back, and so that's all I knew of the show. So it was great, but yeah. That's of all the other like character Joeys, I think he's probably my favorite.
And just how they portray the soap opera acting world, because he's an actor. He's trying to make it in New York City.
My favorite, yeah. I mean, my favorite, I think, is when I don't know what he did. He like pissed off the director or something, or the writer, and then they wrote him
a lot.
and then they wrote him out of the show, so he like randomly falls down an elevator shaft. Yeah. Like everything was fine, and then now he falls down an elevator shaft.
Yeah, they gave me the shaft. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, love it. There's so many great episodes of that.
I know. It's a fantastic show.
So you had some big news. You may have touched on already, but is that the news where you're coming back into keep on, it's General Hospital?
Yeah. Well, I think those were some rumors. I'm not actually going back officially that I've heard of.
Okay.
So it would be it would be amazing to go back. I just haven't heard anything from them or from anybody, in related to them. So it's a cool thought, and I've definitely heard of it, before,
yeah.
like a rumor, especially when the episode first aired. It was a rumor and it was floating around, and now I think it like kind of resurfaced again. But no, I'm not officially, scheduled to go back at any time soon.
It's always good to clear the air of rumors that are floating around.
Yeah, it's true. I always kind of forget how lucky I am because I've gotten a lot of really, really cool things. I've worked on a lot of cool shows and movies and things, and from a very young age, and so it's something that I'm very grateful for. But I forget because I was so young when it happened, and I'm still very relatively young, and so it sort of is now that I'm realizing that I really should be, I guess, more grateful for all the stuff that I've gotten, because there's a lot of people who are just now starting or have been doing it since the same age, and they haven't worked hardly as nearly as much, or hardly at all. So it's a thing that I try to think about a lot. That I don't know if you've seen the movie La La Land, where
I have not yet, but I keep on hearing. It makes me want to see it.
Yeah. No, it's a great film. There's a lot of things in the film that I relate to and can't relate to. I relate to it in a very small way, but there's a scene where like she's an actress and she goes into the waiting room for an audition, and there's 10 other girls there that are wearing the exact same outfit and look exactly the same as her. And so that's the whole thing of like, okay, like that's true. I mean, if you go to like commercial auditions, or a lot of times theatrical auditions where they're looking for like a character or something, then it'll be, you have to wear glasses and everyone's wearing glasses, or something like that. But I never really felt like it was such a burden, or like I needed to get the part, or like I was so stressed out by all the other people that looked the same. I kind of just was like, okay, it's what I like to do. I'm just gonna sort of put on my racehorse blinders, and then just sort of do it. It wasn't something that I stressed over too much, because it was just something that came naturally, and it was fun. Yeah. I eventually landed on the role for Jonathan Rydell, and so it all just kind of worked out. But yeah, it was like late March, told me that I was pinned, and then I started filming in April, and then we filmed for 3 months in Texas, and it was a very, very cool experience.
And a couple things what I'm excited for about this particular piece is, first of all, you're a part of something that it's up for some awards too. Right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's being Emmy considered currently. Yeah.
And it involves what I've read, what I saw in the first looks after I was watching the whole thing, and I went back and watched, talking about how it was one of the biggest film sets.
Yeah, in North America. Yeah, at the time it was. Oh man, I can't remember what the number is. It's like several acres though. Like, it's huge. And it's like several blocks long. Like, you could walk down it like just at a normal pace for a good like 10 minutes or so. Like, it takes a while to actually walk across the entire thing. So yeah, definitely. And very impressive, very well made too. Like, they put it together very quickly. Actors are random people. They are random people that have nice faces and can do lines naturally. And we idolize them, and we make them so much bigger, and put them on TV and put them in movies and make them so much larger than life than they really are. But they're just random people. So those random people can do random things aside from being really good at acting. So it's like, it's not that I'm expecting them to be bad people, but I'm also like, they're random people. I mean, they and they had a life before acting as well. So it's like, I don't know. It's like not super out of the question that these people could be doing things like this, But they're very talented people. Like, I love Kevin Spacey's work. I hope at some point down the road he'll keep doing stuff, but I don't think anyone will hire him right now, unfortunately. But I love the stuff that he's done up until now. He's a great actor.
We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did. It's always a blast exploring the tech universe with you. But alas, it's time to wrap things up. If you've got burning tech questions or just want to say hello, remember you can reach out to us on our website, social media, or drop us an email. We love hearing from you. And if you found this episode as electrifying as we did, please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback helps us keep the tech goodness flowing. Don't forget to share Tech Time with Sweet Tea with your fellow techies. The more, the merrier, right? As we sign off today, always remember that tech is a tool and it's here to serve you. So use it wisely, explore fearlessly, and keep it real in your tech adventures. Stay curious, stay connected, and keep rocking the digital world. Catch you on the next episode of Tech Time with Sweet Tea.